Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. So in case you haven't heard my story yet, I live most of my year in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. And it's been such an interesting experience, to be honest with you, living outside the US. Now, I don't regret it for 1 second. There are definitely some pros and cons, for sure, to living outside the USA. But I'm going to tell you one thing that just like keeps boggling my mind a little bit and keeps always keeping me, what's the word? It just always triggers this like wonder in my mind. And that is how much of a blue ocean everything is down here. And I'm not talking literally about the ocean, even though it's quite beautiful. What I'm talking about is the concept of blue ocean, which is a book that I've recently read, which I'm going to link in the show notes. Blue ocean theory is all about how it's a blue ocean versus a red ocean. A blue ocean is kind of this untapped market, if you will. A red ocean is oversaturated. So if you're thinking of it that way and using that type of analogy, I realized how many blue oceans there are here in Costa Rica and how many red oceans there are in the States, but also how much opportunity there is down here. It's insane. So when you think about blue ocean, it came up when I was talking to my friends and how it's kind of fun to think about, but we have a lot of different foods here as an example. And it's a lot harder to get a good bagel, for example. We realize that like, hey, like we can't go to the store and get the same bagels or the same Thai food or some of the same burgers or steaks or whatever that we're used to back home. It's not worse. It's just different. And if you're used to a certain type of restaurant, you kind of miss the old places you used to go to. Like I miss the bagels back home, from Long Island that Jason's family would bring home. So, we can't get that down here. So we long for it. And what someone did in Liberia, which is the city close to us, is she started a company where she makes bagels. But what's so funny is, and people have done this with bagels, with pierogies, with Texas barbecue, with ribs, with sausages, with ice cream, whatever it is. People are finding the foods that Americans and Canadians are missing from back home, creating businesses around them and doing quite well down here. And one would think of a little bagel shop back home in the United States. Like, is it guaranteed that bagel shop is going to do really well? Maybe not. It depends on location, depends on demand, depends on saturation. But in general, at least where I grew up in Boston, there was a bagel place or a pizza place or a Chinese restaurant around every single corner. There was nothing special about a bagel joint, But down here, it's insanely special. Down here, it's rare. And what she did was she created this little shop where she made bagels, homemade. They were really good. And she would bring them to the farmer's market, or she would take online orders. She would take orders through WhatsApp, and she would literally show up to your car parked outside of the grocery store. I'm not going to lie, it looked kind of like a drug deal where she would bring a plastic bag of bagels, a couple dozen, and you would give her money. She would give you the bag of bagels and you'd be on your way. And it's kind of fun thinking of it this way and going, it's so unique and so different that we buy these types of foods that we have to call, local vendors. We have to call individual people who make them in their own kitchens. And that's how we have to find these things because they're so rare. And it's something we take for granted in the United States because they don't have these types of foods down here. And I'm sure they feel the same way about the US when it comes to certain things that are really common down here. But what I realized in unpacking this was just how different our attitude is now towards certain foods and certain resources that are available down here, that really there's this massive blue ocean of opportunity. Here's another example. I just bought a drink mate, which is their version down here of a soda stream. And in order to get this, you have to call a guy, place an order from a picture he sends you, tell him what you want, and then there's this like shipping truck that will come out a couple days later and deliver the item. So it's very much like manually done. It's not like Amazon Prime. And we can do Amazon down here to some extent, but there's a lot of hoops you have to go through to get these types of things. So it's not as common as like going to a Target. They don't have these things stocked in Walmart or Costco down here. You have to get these specialty items from individual vendors. So I share that with you to say that sometimes it's not just about the market being oversaturated. Sometimes it actually is about changing the market you're in to change your perspective. So, for example, like I said, with the bagel company, like you go to Reading, Massachusetts, where I grew up. Like I said, there's a bagel shop on every block. That ain't anything special. Like you open a bagel shop, you're going to be competing with Finagler Bagel. You're going to be competing with these other big bagel chains. You're going to be competing with Dunkin', with Starbucks, whatever. And you're probably not going to survive for very long, or you're going to be sharing a little piece of the market share. But if you were to start a bagel company down here and store, actually there's a rumor of Jewish deli coming down here. I'm like really excited about that. And if there were to be a place like that down here, it would go nuts. Like everybody would go there in the morning. Thousands of people would go there in the morning and you would make a killing. But what does it involve? Having a business down in Costa Rica. And I don't mean you have to travel abroad in order to reach a blue ocean. But as I was reading this book and I was thinking about the market here, I was unpacking for myself like, wow, maybe it's not always about the offer. Maybe sometimes we're going after the wrong market of people. We've chosen the wrong location. If you're really passionate about having a certain type of business and you're not as passionate about where you actually live, then you can change the market. You can go to another location. You could open it in a different city. You could actually move. You could actually see what makes the most sense for you. And it's not always necessary, but maybe it's a different ideal customer. Maybe if you're running a digital business, now realizing that, say, because I know this from firsthand from Costa Rica, down here, Costa Ricans don't have certain things that we have in the States or aren't as familiar with them. I just taught my lawyer, for example, how to use Calendly. She never heard of this. She's been taking her own bookings manually in her phone on Google Calendar, personally through WhatsApp. So people will WhatsApp her because she puts her WhatsApp number on Facebook. People will WhatsApp her because she's a well-known lawyer that does immigration work. And she will then put it into her calendar manually, book the time, and then have to book it and put it into her appointment book at her office. Now, we all know this. This is like the late 90s, early 2000s way of doing this. And if you think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't she just use an appointment booking software or an assistant or something? She has an assistant, but she's never heard of this appointment booking software. I showed her Calendly and her mind was blown. And I was just thinking, gosh, there's actually a massive market down here. If you want to help local businesses improve the customer and quite frankly, operational experience of their business by implementing things like this, introducing these technologies and sharing like, hey, did you know about this thing called Calendly? You can actually book appointments, whether it's for any type of service or legal or whatever, that you can use this as a tool. Now, I love Calendly. I use it for my own business, but so many other tools out there as well. And when you realize that, oh my gosh, like there are so many people who have this need here, then you start opening your mind up to how much opportunity there truly is. So I would encourage you to expand beyond your market, expand beyond who you already know, and it will actually open up a whole new level of discovery for you as to how unsaturated so many markets truly are. You might be thinking, God, who could run a business just like telling people about Calendly or helping them with their appointment booking and implementing appointment booking software? That's not a real business, Shan. Like, who the hell's going to make that much money doing that? Well, I'll tell you, after my experience with my attorney, like easily someone could set up a business that does that and teach people down here how to do it. They would have a ton of business very quickly because it's something that is needed. It's something that creates efficiency. It serves the US market, which is a lot of the customers down here. And it just makes them overall happy and improves their lives and adds a ton of value. So when you think about what your product or service does in terms of value add, who really needs that right now? And don't keep your mind closed off to the people in your immediate circumference, your immediate vicinity. And you can actually expand a lot more, a lot faster if you're willing to open your mind up to serving other audiences, other markets, besides the ones that you are used to or the ones that you necessarily relate to. So I really wanted to share that insight with you today because it was something that really kind of hit me hard as I was thinking about the difference in how we acquire certain goods down here, how we shop, and how much fun we have learning new things, but also sharing what we know with the folks who live down here. One of the fastest ways that digital business owners lose cash is not having a clean tech stack. And by that, I mean individual costs for email marketing platforms, CRM, community page, course creation platform, website designers, and all these things do add up. And it can be super hard to run a profitable business using all of these different systems. That's why I love Kajabi. Kajabi is your all-in-one solution that manages your business throughout the customer journey. From lead generation to taking payment and sending onboarding emails, we use Kajabi for everything. And you can try Kajabi for 14 days free by heading to trykajabifree.com or click the link below in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.